Chapter 4 Another Visitor. King Hrothgar gave orders to prepare Herut Hall for a splendid victory feast that night. Everything was washed, the tables and benches were repaired and put back in place, and the whole hall was bright and clean. The gold thread in the tapestries was shining in the sunshine that came through the open doors. On the night of the victory feast, Herut Hall was full of light, happiness, and friendship. Hrothgar stood up and said,
"Silence! If we are all here tonight, happy again as we used to be years ago, it's because of the bravery and heroism of this man, Beowulf."
Everyone banged the tables and shouted, "Beowulf! Beowulf!" Hrothgar continued,
"Beowulf, I have rewards for you and your men. They are the most splendid gifts that I can give you."
The rewards were brought in and presented to Beowulf. First, there was a magnificent banner, made with gold thread, for Beowulf to fly over his head in battle. Next, there was a precious helmet and wonderful chainmail armor. Then there was a huge sword, decorated with gold, silver, and jewels. Then Hrothgar, the ring-giver, clapped his hands, and the doors of the hall were opened. 8 horses were led in, each with a precious saddle. They were led around the hall for everyone to admire.
"Look at that horse, Beowulf, the white one,"
said Hrothgar.
"Do you see how magnificent the saddle is, with all those precious jewels? That is the saddle that I used as a young man, when I rode into battle at the head of my warriors."
Hrothgar had rewards for the other Geats as well, and gave gold in compensation for the Geat who had been killed by Grendel. Everyone drank and ate, and the bard sang songs of heroes.
"Just like in the old days,"
said Hrothgar to his queen.
"Yes, and I hope it will be like this in the future too, for a long time,"
said Queen Waltheow. She got up and went to where Beowulf was sitting, between her 2 young sons.
"Beowulf, if Hrothgar dies while our sons are still young, will you come back and look after them, and the kingdom of Denmark, while they grow up?"
"I promise you,"
said Beowulf, looking into the queen's eyes.
"I want your older son to become the shield of the people, just like his father is now."
Waltheow smiled.
"Thank you, Beowulf. I have some rewards for you as well."
She clapped her hands, and servants brought gold rings, chainmail, and an enormous torque.
"Wear this chainmail and this torque for me, Beowulf. I hope they bring you luck,"
she said, raising her cup of mead to toast him. The feast continued until late at night. Then Hrothgar and Waltheow went to their royal rooms, and Beowulf was taken to a private room away from the hall, where he could sleep undisturbed. The Danes took off their armour and prepared to lie down and sleep in Herut Hall for the first time in 12 years. They smiled and laughed as they yawned and lay down. How happy they were to be there! What peaceful dreams they were going to have! But none of them would have peaceful dreams, and one of them would not see the morning. While everybody was sleeping, the doors burst open. There was the noise of the shouting of men, the clashing of shields and swords as they desperately picked up their weapons, and the howls of a strange, horrible creature. No one knew what was happening. No one could see clearly who or what had burst into the hall. But the creature didn't attack the warriors. It seemed to be desperately looking around for something. Then it saw what it wanted. It leapt onto a table, and then leapt into the air, grabbed the arm and shoulder from the roof and hugged it to its chest. The creature looked around with hatred and fear at the warriors who were coming towards it, their swords in their hands. With its free hand, it seized the nearest man and crushed him to its chest. The warriors watched helplessly as the creature, clutching Grendel's arm and shoulder and the Danish warrior, disappeared howling into the night. Woken by the noise, Beowulf rushed to the hall. Hrothgar was there already. He was sitting on a bench with his head in his hands.
There are two of them, Beowulf. It's what I've always been afraid of. Two monsters. People in the country have talked about two creatures on the moors. One of them, they say, is smaller and could be a female. I never wanted to believe it.
It must be Grendel's mother,
said Beowulf.
She wanted revenge for the death of her son.
She took a man with her.
Hrothgar was almost sobbing now.
He was Eskir. He used to ride into battle with me by my side. I never trusted anyone more than him. I can't bear to think of what she has done to him.
Hrothgar, don't be sad,
said Beowulf.
Eskir would not want you to mourn him. He was a brave warrior. He would want revenge.
You're right, Beowulf,
said Hrothgar, getting to his feet.
We'll leave as soon as it's dawn.
We'll hunt her and find her, wherever she's gone, wherever she's hiding. I promise you, Hrothgar, she won't escape me.
Across the bleak moors, Grendel's mother, holding her son's arm, was disappearing into the dark waters of a lake.